Hi everyone, welcome to another video. I'm going to be talking about the Buffett deal that was announced this week. Warren Buffett's definitely back. He's been being very active the last few weeks, last 2 months say, with the Dominion Energy deal, with the investments in the Japanese trading houses, which was a rare investment in foreign companies for Buffett. And last week, the investment in Snowflake, which obviously doubled in one day, and is another rare example of a tech investment from Buffett. He's really been, going out of his playbook recently. The investment announced this week is a lot more in his playbook, a lot more of a traditional Berkshire play, and it's it's good to see him back like this, investing heavily, investing to achieve a good profit. So let's jump in. So basically, they announced this week that they are giving media company EW Scripps $600 million so that they can fund the acquisition of another media company, Ion Media. And in return for that $600 million, Berkshire is getting preferred shares that pay a dividend of 8% in cash. It also gives him the option to buy just over 23 million shares of the company, priced at $13. It's currently trading a little bit below that, but it did pop above that when this news first broke. Buffett has a habit here of, in the past decade, a bit longer than that, of securing high yields in a very low yield environment. An impressive way of, leveraging his name, leveraging his huge cash pile to really pen good deals. When it's such a difficult economic period, these companies need his money and his name to fund these kind of deals. Last year he penned the deal with Occidental Petroleum so they could buy Anadarko. That was a $10 billion loan, again at an 8% cash dividend. That enabled the merger to go forward without any approval from the shareholders. Now that did cause a few problems. Activist investor Carl Icahn massively opposed the deal and it's been a bit of a pain for the company since then. And the deal has not turned out perfectly for Buffett. It's no longer being paid in cash, it's being paid in shares, partly to dilute Icahn. But it's also reminiscent of deals he made 12 years ago during the last financial crisis with the big banks like Goldman Sachs, which brought him around a 10% dividend, I believe, just to loan his name to these companies to show that he supports their balance sheets, he supports their strength, really, that they will survive. That's not as relevant here. This is more about funding the takeover, the acquisition. The question really here for interested investors is, will this EW Scripps takeover be a success? Buffett's only funding a small part of the deal, so it's $600 million for a $2.65 billion deal. And that's really going to enable EW to double the size of its television stations and significantly increase its programming distribution network. Obviously, this sounds like a bit of a weird one because the industry is declining in terms of cable news bundles and programs. People are moving towards the Netflix, Hulu subscription model. That streaming services online where you don't have that traditional TV network. But these stations are still really profitable. And that's really obviously good for Buffett, so he can make the most of this investment. He can guarantee that 8% dividend until it's paid off. He can hold the shares and see the bigger company as, succeeding in its space. This kind of consolidation has happened more and more in this industry as it becomes tougher and tougher, but these companies are still highly profitable because of the large fees from cable packages. And this deal in itself is expected to generate around $500 million in synergies in around 6 years. Now, obviously, that's hard to know if that's going to happen until it does. Often most synergy numbers are very big and don't happen, or don't happen in the way they were assumed that they would, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. It's also interesting to see Buffett going back into the media space. Obviously, he's been a huge fan of media ever since he started investing. Owning newspapers, more of a passion project than as an investment, but recently he stepped away from the media side because it's not a very profitable industry. So it's good to see him back investing in that space and looking like he's penned a very successful deal here, a deal that will bring him a nice return, a safe return, an environment where most people aren't achieving that. It might also be an interesting signal for the rest of the market. Buffett famously started investing in the last financial crisis virtually around the bottom. Maybe he's done the same here. Maybe he was silent for so long only to, jump in now, invest money, because he thinks this is the bottom. Maybe last time it was just luck. Entirely possible. Maybe this time again he'll be lucky. But that might be an interesting thing to follow. Is this the bottom of the market? In terms of the economy, obviously the market's still relatively high. But is this the bottom for the economy? And is it going to rally? And are the signals going to improve from here? Obviously only time will tell if that's true. But it's really interesting to see Buffett penning these kind of deals in quick succession that should be lucrative for Berkshire. And he's definitely back on form, I think. From the beginning of the year where he was selling his shares in financial firms, in airlines, really consolidating and taking a lot of risk off the table. He seems to have reversed that a bit. He's back in, now maybe not as much as he was, but he's starting to invest again. And hopefully we'll see more from him in the next few weeks before the end of the year approaches, and we'll see what else he's thinking about, what else he wants to invest in. I think interestingly, this particular deal, I'm not sure if it was about bringing Buffett's name on board, but rather his money. I wonder if they'd ever considered doing this publicly, issuing the preferred shares publicly at a lower percent, because the 8% is a punchy dividend. If it was 5, I reckon they'd get enough really interest from the public to raise that sort of money. But you don't really see those deals very often. It'd be interesting to see if anyone ever tried that. Obviously, Buffett's name, Buffett's money comes with a high price, that 8%. Maybe if it was done publicly, if it was done through some sort of consortium, they could have gone lower. Anyway, that's my just 2 cents on the situation. Just thought I'd fill you guys in on what Buffett's been up to. And another interesting deal that he's penned. But yeah, thank you very much for listening. Please watch another one of my videos, subscribe, like if you enjoyed. And remember, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Please do your own research and form your own opinions before you invest. Thank you very much.